Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow.
Yeah, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. But let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures. And look at her track record. How many times has she had to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that she said on the show? And then she also, on Trump's win, calling the loss because of uneducated white women that Trump won.
We have to know that. This is accused.
All accused. Yeah, all accused. But he's in the RICO. This is a big RICO case that her husband's in.
Sunny Hostin's husband just got hit with a $450 million RICO fraud case. And guess who's ripping into it like it's roast night at a comedy club? Yep, Joe Rogan. And what he said, brutal, hilarious, and full of more twists than a Netflix docuseries. Is Sunny sweating on live TV? Is Joe pulling punches? Not a chance. This takedown's so intense, even the FBI might want to tune in. Let's break it down.
Because I think Sunny is very intelligent, but she's ideologically captured.
Right.
You know, I think the other ones, there's a couple of the other ones, don't have to name any names, who are just very dull-minded. But I think Sunny's not one of them. I think she's smart, but captured.
Sure, I think she came into it with an agenda.
Of course.
You know.
They do everything.
Oh man, get ready. This one's a wild ride full of scandal, sarcasm, and jaw-dropping twists. When you hear $450 million RICO fraud, your brain probably pictures mob bosses in smoky rooms plotting some epic heist. But nope. This story hits way closer to home. It stars none other than Sunny Hostin, the same Sunny who dishes out hot takes on daytime TV. Now she's tangled up in a legal disaster that sounds like a bad crime show, only this one's horrifyingly real.
I get it. I also hate Joy Behar. So I don't love you, but I also hate that squawking bird. So I hate the whole thing. And frankly, that show, you want to talk about a show that set women back, is The View. You want to talk about that show. If the CIA is engineering, Antifa and fucking the Capitol riot, some crazy misogynist engineered The View, because there's nothing worse than The View. In terms of, like, there are so many brilliant women out there. None of them are on.
Here's the scoop. Her husband's been charged in one of the biggest financial crime cases we've seen in years. A massive RICO case. For those who don't know, RICO stands for Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. Basically, it's the legal hammer the government uses to smash organized crime. We're not talking simple fraud or tax tricks here. This is the kind of case that makes headlines and history books.
Is that show has this very specific ideological bubble in which they operate in, and they always bring on a token conservative woman and they yell over her and silence her, and they did that with Meghan McCain, and they did that with what is that other blonde woman from Survivor? Do you remember her, Jamie? She was always yelling. I mean, it's just it's a bizarre show. I think the way before you start, I think the way you described it is brilliant, and the way we should all look at it. Of course, you're going to see race. The idea of being colorblind is ridiculous, but treat everybody. They're just human beings.
Yeah.
Everybody's just individual.
When your husband gets slapped with a $450 million RICO charge, it's like being front row for a financial disaster movie. And just when you think it couldn't get more chaotic, boom, Joe Rogan jumps in. Yeah, that Joe Rogan, the podcast. King, MMA guy, and now savage media critic. His reaction? Pure fire. No filter. No mercy. He didn't just call it out. He roasted the whole mess like an overcooked steak at a roadside diner.
Agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
Picture it. Rogan, cool as ever, tearing apart the nonsense and calling out the wild hypocrisy. He's not just talking about the crime. He's pointing fingers at the double standards in the media and how public figures act shocked when their private disasters go public. What makes this roast so good? Rogan's talent for cutting through the noise. While others make excuses, he drops facts, then hits them with sarcasm and disbelief. It's like watching a pro detective explain a huge scandal scandal in plain English, except the culprit's connected to a daytime TV star. And to really grasp how massive this is, $450 million isn't just pocket change. It means deep, complicated fraud, fake companies, forged paperwork, dirty money moving like clockwork. It's the kind of thing that would impress even career criminals.
Ho-ho Sunny Hostin's husband, Emmanuel Hostin, has been accused of federal insurance fraud. According to a new lawsuit obtained by Page Six, the orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer influence and corrupt organization cases ever filed in New York. Emmanuel was accused of federal insurance fraud and, quote, getting kickbacks by performing surgery and billing a company that insured taxi companies and Uber and Lyft drivers. According to the documents, he knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services, including arthroscopic surgery.
Because it's a RICO case, prosecutors believe this wasn't just one shady deal. It was a full-on criminal operation. We're talking planned, organized, and likely involving a group of people working together to pull off one of the biggest scams in years. And the fact that Sunny Hostin's husband is right in the middle of it? That's a twist no daytime talk show could script better. Enter Joe Rogan, wasting zero time calling out the double standards. Here's a media personality who regularly talks about truth and justice, while her personal life explodes with allegations that scream the opposite. The irony? Almost too perfect. It's like a health guru caught sneaking fast food at midnight. Rogan doesn't even have to explain it. The contradiction is obvious. And somehow, hilarious in the most painful way. What's even more interesting is how this shows a major flaw in celebrity culture. When someone famous has a family member caught in a major crime, the media usually either ignores it or defends them. Rogan? Not buying it, no passes, no keep it private card. If you're tied to a giant fraud case, the public deserves to know, and yes, you should be held accountable.
The love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching and hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies-infested hen house.
The ripple effects? Massive. This isn't just a family issue. It's a media bombshell. Every time a scandal like this breaks, trust in public figures takes a hit. And when someone this well-known is involved, there's no chance the story quietly disappears. People want answers, reactions, and honestly, a bit of entertainment while they watch it all unfold. That's where Joe Rogan comes in again, turning this financial disaster into must-see commentary. But let's get into the alleged fraud itself. This wasn't one guy cooking the books. It's a tangled mess involving shell companies, fake money, trails, and a crew of people who probably thought they were too smart to get caught. Pulling off a $450 million scam takes serious planning. This isn't fudging a tax form. This is a criminal empire in action. And while the accused are under the spotlight, the question on everyone's mind is, how did someone so close to a major TV personality end up in the middle of something so bold?
Goldberg said?
What'd she say?
Whoopi Goldberg said that Biden could arrest all the Republicans and put them in jail. You just need to see how unhinged this kind of thinking is. Well, you know what Joe Biden could do? Joe Biden, you have to see it because it's so
on TV.
crazy.
She said it's
on television.
It's a classic case of guilt by association, but with a juicy twist that's made for headlines. The public eats this stuff up, especially when it takes down someone from the untouchable elite, and watching Joe Rogan roast the situation just adds fuel to the fire. What's wild is how this shines a spotlight on media hypocrisy. Sunny Hostin has built a reputation as a voice for justice and integrity. Now, that whole image looks flipped upside down. Rogan jumps on that contradiction hard. He asks the big, uncomfortable question: how can someone so outspoken about morals not get pulled into a scandal this big when their spouse is the alleged mastermind of one of the biggest frauds in recent memory? The irony is just too rich to ignore. And Rogan, always quick with the takedown, serves it up without hesitation. This isn't just about one family's drama. It's about accountability, media double standards, and what happens when personal lives blow up in the public spotlight. Rogan hits the moment perfectly, reminding everyone that no one's above being called out, not even those who claim to stand for truth.
As like a news
This is right
as a news
after.
source.
No. This is the most important part.
I don't know.
Hey, this is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she
What?
by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, and then making the stupidest fucking statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife about, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't believe
the other
Joy
part of what he
Behar
said
didn't
was
weigh-
there was something before that where he was explaining encounters with John.
Here's the real kicker. Rogan doesn't sugarcoat a thing. No spin, no polished PR defense. Just raw, brutal honesty. And that's exactly why people can't stop watching. His takedown isn't just funny, it cuts straight through all the nonsense, media privilege, shattered, criminal arrogance, exposed. And let's face it, people love drama, especially when it's a high-profile downfall. Joe Rogan turns what could have been a dry, complicated case into a wild, can't look away spectacle. Like watching a slow-motion train wreck with popcorn in hand. But under all the jokes and jabs, there's a serious question. What does justice look like when someone close to fame gets caught in a crime this big? The court of public opinion moves fast, and reputations don't survive easily. Rogan's take forces us to face the truth. Fame doesn't protect anyone. If anything, it just puts your mess under an even bigger spotlight.
This is why we need to seriously have a long, lengthy conversation about healthcare in the United States of America. This is basically it. So Sunny Hostin's husband was basically charged with insurance fraud. What he was doing was doing like fraudulent surgeries and then overcharging the insurance company for him. This is what this is. So now, of course, he's now being named along with about 200 other individuals in a federal RICO charge case, guys. Racketeering.
So where does everyone stand now? For the accused, it's going to be a long, intense legal fight with freedom, money, and reputation hanging in the balance. For Sunny Hostin, it's a PR disaster of epic proportions. She's stuck balancing personal loyalty with a tidal wave of public judgment. And for Joe Rogan, he just leveled up as the no-holds-barred media critic who says what others won't, especially when the truth hits close to home. This scandal won't fade quietly. It'll stretch on for months, maybe years, as court dates unfold and new evidence surfaces. The public won't look away. They'll be hooked, waiting for the next jaw-dropping twist. And through it all, Rogan's blunt, sarcastic commentary will keep slicing through the noise like a wrecking ball in a glass house. Why does his brutal honesty hit so hard? Because it cuts straight through the double standards that shield the powerful. When a scandal this massive breaks, people don't just want juicy headlines, they want accountability. And Rogan's refusal to let anyone hide behind the private, family matter excuse taps directly into a culture tired of watching the elite dodge consequences.
Their audience is a group of people they bring in to watch television shows. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen audiences before for TV shows, but a lot of them are paid. They're paid to be there. So, because they have to guarantee that there's going to be people there. So there's services that you hire. And when a show gets really, really popular, you know, like Letterman or something like that, obviously it has its own fan base.
Right.
And those people will try to get tickets before anybody else does. And in that case, they probably don't need to use a service anymore. They just get actual fans. But arguably, like, the fans, the real fans of The View that are like, oh, these ladies are on point. Most of those people can't leave the house. Like, they're probably...
Right.
There's something incredibly satisfying about watching someone like Joe Rogan rip into the hypocrisy with zero filter. It's like he's holding up a mirror for an audience sick of PR spins and the awkward silence that usually follows when the rich and famous get caught red-handed. When $450 million is in question, nobody wants sugarcoating. They want the truth, raw, clear, and unpolished. They want the slick surfaces stripped away so they can see the messy reality underneath. And Rogan delivers that, not just as one guy sharing his opinion, but as a voice for a bigger cultural shift. This isn't just about one case. It's about the public demanding that high-profile people stop getting special treatment. Because when reputations and fortunes this massive are at risk, soft answers won't cut it. It's a reminder that justice isn't supposed to play favorites. And here's the twist. People can't get enough of this kind of honesty. We're living in a time where polished statements and fake smiles feel empty. People want real talk, even if it stings, especially when it's wrapped in wit and delivered with a smirk.
In fairness, though, I mean, The View has to be, you know, if you average out The View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Sunny Hostin.
You think it's deliberate?
I think she's ideologically driven, and they have blinders on for sure. I don't think Sunny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and you like it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and just
Rogan's take hits that sweet spot perfectly. Sharp, funny, and brutally honest. He doesn't tiptoe. He lights up the media shield like a blowtorch on butter. Now, as the dust starts to settle, the shockwaves are still rumbling. This isn't a flash-in-the-pan scandal. It's a full-blown media inferno. The courtroom drama is just getting started. Public opinion is shifting, sides are forming, and every new headline keeps stoking the fire. Expect more bombshells, more awkward interviews, more "did they really just say that" moments. The media circus isn't slowing down, it's speeding up. And Joe Rogan, he's not done. His roast might have kicked things off, but it's far from over. Now everyone's wondering, when will this whole thing finally collapse? And who's going down with it? Because this isn't just a scandal anymore. It's a cultural event, a headline-turned spectacle that has everyone talking. So stay tuned. Courtrooms are heating up, reputations are on the edge, and Joe Rogan's mic still hot.